All right, everybody. We want Dallas. We want Dallas. We want Dallas. We want Dallas. We want Dallas.
Well. How the turntables. Cowboy Nation, what is happening? Live and in living color, we bring to you the Noise of the Boys podcast, a Dallas Cowboys Homer exclusive from our studio at HQ1. I am your co-host, color commentator, Matt Longoria, and with me, as always, my right-hand dude, sitting to my left, Uncle CTom.
What's up, everybody? Matt and I are just two true blue, over-the-top, die-hard fanatics that come together to help you find those silver and blue linings in those losses and celebrate those wins. We are here to make some noise about the boys. How we feeling today, Matt Long?
How about them Cowboys? It is a victory Sunday, and we are here early to celebrate a great win, at least in the first half and down the stretch. A little spotty, but good teams get the job done. And we are sitting here today, winners.
Man, I was feeling so good in that first half, and I don't want to be that guy. I really don't. I was feeling fantastic. I was hyped, jumping around about as crazy as it possibly gets for all Uncle CTom. And then, it all kind of went downhill come the third quarter. For me, as far as my intensity and the emotion and all that stuff, third quarter, fourth quarter, I was doing a lot of sitting down and complaining.
Yeah, I have to concur with that as I watched the game with you today. The Dallas defense stepped up big, and defense, I've said this before, defense wins championships. So, as I said, they stepped up big. They produced 5 sacks, 1 INT, and 3 forced fumbles. That's going to be huge in a game like this. This defense has proven for the second week in a row that they can be the difference makers in a game where the offense struggles to make plays. It was fully anticipated. We talked about it in the pregame. At full strength, this defense is a force to be reckoned with. I dare said or pronounced them as the reincarnation of Doomsday defense. And here in the first half, they definitely showed signs of that. But definitely a defensive effort we needed for this win, to say the least.
Well, it's a little bit easier to hear whenever your team plays that well, as far as, the way that they played on the defensive side of the ball. We'll get to that and we'll get to our winners and losers, but man, our D-line absolutely balled out today. Absolutely insane effort from those guys. What I was saying on my score prediction from the pregame was that I didn't see the Washington offense being able to score even 17 points. And Dak did throw that pick 6, so that's what got them to 20 points. But, my
you were correct.
I got that one right, so that's cool. Washington's offense got them 13 points, so that was definitely good to see for our defense.
Certainly, and let's move into our bold predictions from the pregame. They seem to come to life here in this game. We fully anticipated a big showing from the Dallas D, and they absolutely lived up to that expectation. My bold prediction pregame was that Dallas would come away with 5 sacks. This came to life, matching Dallas's season high thus far this season and happening one other time at home against Carolina in Week 4. Wow. It was a bold prediction, but I was somewhat really confident in it. I didn't know why. And I'm just happy to be sitting here.
That's awesome, man. Anytime that you can get a bold prediction correct, that's awesome, because for Cowboys Nation, for the fans listening out there, we try to make these bold predictions, pretty lofty. Like, we don't necessarily think that this has a high probability of happening, but that's why we call it a bold prediction. So when you get your bold prediction correct, you know that it was a good day for the Dallas Cowboys. So my bold prediction was that they were going to set season highs on the statistical categories as far as pressures, sacks, and turnovers. I think they matched the season high in turnovers, and they matched the season high in sacks. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I was right on my bold prediction as well. The only thing that I'm not entirely sure of is pressures. And if somebody out there listening can get me that statistic, I'll look a little bit further into it. And
please comment below
for sure. And I'll update on the Noise of the Boys Twitter account as well. I'd love to see what our pressures were sitting at for that game.
And while we're on it, that's the best place to probably interact with us. Noise of the Boys on Twitter. We're pretty active on that.
Live tweeting the games, Cowboys Nation.
Yes, so definitely show up to interact with us on that. We will answer any questions that you have and give you our take on anything that you can possibly think of, all Cowboys related. Winners and losers from this game. We're gonna hone in specifically on our team, our guys. Who are your winners from this game? I mean, who made an impact?
So as I was going through my winners and losers, for my winners, I was having a hard time picking an individual player. So I just grouped the entire defensive line as my winner. I got Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Lawrence, Neville Gallimore, Dorrance Armstrong. These guys played out of their mind. I mean, they really did. And, honorable mention to Osa Odigizua, had a solid game as well. But, man, these four in particular, Randy Gregory with that insane tip ball to himself with the interception. And then he also had a strip sack, I believe that was him. He had the strip sack that turned into a touchdown return. And then DeMarcus Lawrence, I mean, he did his thing today. Neville Gallimore showed up. He had a few plays. Let's see. Neville Gallimore had 2 tackles, had 1 sack, and a tackle for loss. DeMarcus Lawrence had 2 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, and he laid the wood on the quarterback twice. So, I mean, these 4 guys on the defensive line, I mean, we were talking about this in the pregame show. That's why we made those bold predictions. We expected these guys to show up and to play like this, and we thought that it would be the difference maker. And today, for me, that's why they're my winners. They were the difference maker today.
I don't know if there's a better quad squad on any defensive unit in the rest of the NFL. Man, that's a serious front line on the defensive end. But that being said, my guys, I got 3 winners from this one. I got Parsons, Gallup, and Leighton Vander Esch. I want to talk about Parsons. I think we ought to really sing his praises in this one. Parsons with the 3-2-1 effort. Yeah, I coined that phrase, a 3-2-1 effort, 3 tackles, 2 sacks, and 1 tackle for loss. Shout out to the effort, mainly early on, that allowed Dallas to jump to an early 18-0 lead in the first quarter. That was pretty big. That obviously set the tone for the rest of the game and made things very difficult on Washington in terms of coming back and turning the game around. We had the momentum on the entire first half, and that's really hard to come back from. So,
especially with a team that's built the way that Washington is, their whole focus is to try and get short fields for their offense, play good defense, keep the game tight, hopefully moving into the fourth quarter so that you can make that final move and try to take the lead late. So that's the way that Washington was hoping to play this. Obviously, the way that the game started out is exactly how Dallas wanted this game to start out. So we showed up, we took care of business, and we got exactly what we wanted.
Yes, and just to keep going about Micah Parsons, he had 2 sacks. One of them was actually, beg your pardon on that, one of them was the forced fumble that Dorrance Armstrong returned.
Oh, okay, yes, that's right. I do apologize. That was Micah.
So
Micah with a great game, man.
He forced that fumble and just obviously set us up for some defensive points. 6 the other ways, what we love to see on the defense. And we were fully expecting, again, we can't talk enough about this defense, man. We really thought that they would show up for this one, and they did not disappoint. Talking about Michael Gallup. So it's easy to turn and give the winner or the game ball to guys like CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. I picked Gallup for a few reasons. So he got 5 receptions and 60 yards. No, he didn't grab any passes for a touchdown, but the reason why he's selected as a winner is because he establishes early that he's not a scapegoat receiver. He's a force to be reckoned with. He's not to be taken lightly, and he's a guy that will make effort plays. And lastly, LVE. With all those serious weapons on this defensive unit, I asked earlier this season, is he an afterthought? And a guy like LVE, who seems to be kind of taking a back seat to the bigger stars, he really made his presence felt on this one with some effort plays. You kind of see him hustling to the ball on each individual play. I felt like I was calling his name every other play. Oh, look, there's Van Der Esch. Okay, fantastic. I mean, it was an overall complimentary defensive win, but we'll get into the struggles of the offense
He was talking about Leighton in particular. Like you said, there he is again. He played hard today. Like, he played physical. And, you know, a lot of Cowboys fans and a lot of media guys were killing Leighton Van Der Esch this season. But you got to remember that maybe Leighton isn't necessarily, you know, the first round, you know, game-changing talent that, you know, we expected him to be. But he's still a really solid player when he's put in position to succeed. And that's exactly how he played today. He had the defensive line making plays. Micah Parsons was making plays. The secondary was making plays. So he was put in a position to succeed, and he was able to do what he does best and just be physical. You saw him around the ball a lot, making solid tackles. You even saw him with a pass breakup, I believe, today. So shout out to LVE, man. The Wolf Hunter showed up today.
Yes, and shout out to our fan base, man. Just straight taking over Washington's home field advantage. I mean, I don't know if any of you got a chance to glimpse out into the audience, but there were seas and waves of blue throughout the entire stadium. We definitely kind of stole this one. So shout out to them. Shout out to Mike McCarthy. I'm sure he's feeling real good about himself, guaranteeing a win, and then, of course, coming away with one. That would look really bad.
Shout out to Jerry Jones for the new benches. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, super power move. Waking up to that news. I mean, what kind of team ships in their own benches for the side? Like, nah, your guys' stuff is not good enough for us.
Y'all are trash.
Y'all can't touch us. We've got our own stuff. So lots of power moves and swinging our weight around when it comes to getting a win like this. But let's move into our losers. Who do you got?
So I don't want to kill Anthony Brown too much because he did have a good game. I don't want that to get misconstrued, but I do have him as my loser just because he had a lot of opportunities to make, you know, big plays on the football, and it just seemed like time and time again.
Big plays meaning
interceptions, really. I mean, he was in good position a lot. Let's not get that misconstrued. He played solid coverage today. But man, those I think it was three dropped interceptions he had. That one just hurts so bad, man. I wanted to see him get one. Obviously, you know, we got 4 turnovers, so we don't want to kill him too bad. But if I do have to pick a loser from the defense, I'm going to say Anthony Brown.
Yeah, and it's tough to even pick him as a loser. It just in the fact that he couldn't come up with those INTs when you really thought he had a good chance.
Yeah, he definitely did have a chance, quite a few of them. So, but he did play somewhat decent today. So I don't want to kill him too hard, but I did have him on my loser board for that reason. And then on the offensive side, based off of your loser picks, I went ahead and I went with Connor McGovern. I really thought that they would be going back to Connor Williams today. So I was actually pretty surprised to see Connor McGovern back in the game. For those of you who are listening to this and don't know who Connor McGovern is, he's the left guard. Obviously, that position has been a liability for us throughout the season. There were lots of plays where he just straight up got beat, and that's the biggest difference is Connor Williams has a lot of penalties. Connor McGovern is straight getting whooped from the start. So it's kind of a pick your poison thing, and you know, I was calling for Connor McGovern because I wasn't a fan of the way that Connor Williams had been playing. But at this point, you know, maybe
you picked the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, maybe you just have to go back to it because the running game just isn't there, man. Like, it's not there like it was when Williams was in. Obviously, we've had guys in and out of the lineup as well, but I have him on my loser board. He did get beat really bad, and he is one of the reasons why Tyron got hurt today. I know things happen, but he landed right on top of Tyron, and we can't have that kind of stuff happen, man.
And yeah, man, it just seems like this injury bug is here to stay. And it just seems like, man, every time we get up to full strength, you can expect something to hit the fan. And you know what? It looks like everybody's good to go. Everybody kind of just got shaken up a little bit. I'm not sure the news on Tyron. We'll do some research into that and update you, of course. But to your point about Anthony Brown, going back to that, I want to shout out Justin Kerb. What he said is actually facts. A game where he doesn't get hit with a defensive PI, that's a big dub for him. So he wasn't in great position on a lot of those. No, he didn't come away with picks that we thought were definitely catchable, but I digress. My one loser, Dak Prescott.
This is a big deal if you know how big of Dak fans we are.
We are big Dak apologists in the same way we were about our man Tony Romo. Dak has not looked like himself. I am calling for Dak Prescott to make a bounce back that is actually noteworthy. But I have some stats here for you. As much as I hate to put him on this list, Dak has just not looked like himself. Going 22 for 39. 211 yards, a TD, and 2 INTs. So since that blowout game against Atlanta, Dak's averaging a 64% completion percentage, with his worst performance happening this afternoon. He only completed 56%. He's also thrown 5 picks and only 4 touchdowns over the same stretch of games.
Ouch. That's rough.
So we're not getting a whole lot of production from him, and I know that he's big on buying his team gifts this time of year. You got to go buy an extra one for that defensive squad.
For that defensive effort, for sure. Dak had a 58.8 quarterback rating today. Not good, man. Not good at all. I don't want to put everything on Dak because, the O-line has to play better. This is something that we've been harping on for a few weeks now. He got sacked 4 times today. So, obviously that's going to play a part. You've got guys going down. You've got some guys not, the continuity just still, it doesn't seem like we're in that groove. We can't find that rhythm like we're hoping. Some of it is play calling, but you're right at the end of the day, 22 of 39, that's not a stat line from Dak that we're, accustomed to seeing. We're usually seeing him much more efficient. You could tell that he had intention of trying the deep ball today, though. It seemed like he was really trying
looking to launch it for sure.
He was looking to push the ball down the field, which was definitely good, at least particular in the first half. But the second half is when things got really shaky.
My guy definitely he's looking to run, but he's just so hesitant. He's so reluctant. He's like always looking behind him. He's afraid someone's going to, blindside him. And obviously, for obvious reasons. I mean, you don't want the guy to get hurt. But there were just some open plays that you're used to him actually capitalizing on that he just didn't. Very, very frustrating as big. I mean, I'd argue to say that Dak's probably our favorite player on the team. So to see him struggle, it's really disheartening. But again, hats off to that defensive effort that they are the main reason. But this kind of transitions. I mean, we wanted to come on and talk today about closing out games. And in a game like this, it has to start with the offense. So the offense has to be better. That's easier said than done, obviously, and I understand that. But numbers don't lie. 7 for 18 on third down. 4 sacks allowed, 6 red zone attempts, and only cashing in on 1 of those.
That's terrible.
I think that it's just as important to convert on third downs and convert the majority of them as it is to finish our football games.
I mean, there was a third down, and we had just gotten a turnover. We start our possession on the 25-yard line, and we can't even get a first down. It's like, what are we doing? And, I believe the third down play was a passing play that ended up, it was a route that was stopped short of why? Like, why are we running? We're not running our guys to the sticks on 3rd and 4? Mm-hmm. I don't understand. And, we settled for the 3, and then that was the only points that we had for the entire second half. And considering the half, there was the two tails of this game. The first half is, what did I say? During the game when we went up 24-0, I said, finally, this is the team that we saw in the first half of the season, right? Did I not say that?
Yeah, we were on our way to an absolute rout.
I mean, while the offense in the first half still had their struggles, definitely felt a lot better than it had in the last few weeks. And I know that they had a nice showing in the second half against the Raiders a couple weeks ago or whatever, but still, this first half, seemed like there was promising. And, the Cowboys have been a second half team this season. So you're expecting them to come out and it's like, all right, it's time to pour it on, or at least let's be efficient so that we can hold on to the ball and run this clock out.
Yes.
If we get field goals each time, we're going to, what is this? Like a, 38 to 8 ball game.
Right. We kept saying it throughout halftime. Keep your foot on the gas pedal, man. It is so, we've seen it time and time again where Dallas just lets up. They're already anticipating what's going on for dinner tonight. Finish the damn job. Get it done before you start thinking about your dinner plans and what's going on after the game. When I say finish the game, I don't mean to hang on to win. I mean full throttle, push, pedal to the metal. You can't take your foot off.
And that pick six by Dak, it was going to be easy to defend him in my estimation, before that play, because it was like, yeah, he hasn't played great, but he's also had a few plays that were right there that that we've seen the last few weeks where they were right there and the connection just wasn't there. So it's like, okay, eventually we're going to be able to get one of these or whatever, but. The stat line wasn't necessarily fantastic, but you could make the argument, okay, well, he made the throws that he needed to. He didn't necessarily have to play amazing.
Right.
He just had to protect the football. And so that pick six at the end of the game, it's indefensible. And I'm the biggest Dak stan there is out there. So that was definitely very, 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 very frustrating. And that was the last thing that you can have from your team at that point. You have to protect the ball, first of all. And if he does make that interception, we have to make sure we get him to the ground because we cannot allow them to get fast points like that. That changed the entire complexion of the game. When that happened, I was sunk. I was so pissed off. I was so irritated. I was like, great, we are collapsing right now. Yeah. What is going on?
Especially because you're used to Dak making that throw. You've got Dalton Schultz striding across the midfield, and you're like, he's wide open. Dak makes a little bit of a hesitation move, allows a guy to get in front of his vision and skew his vision. In real time, it looks like he threw it right to the defender, but as they show the replay, you can tell it was just a miscue on his part. Schultz made that play.
I feel like Dalton was there, like you said, it was miscommunication. I feel like Dalton was sitting in the zone when if he had kept moving, then Dak probably could have kept moving and made a throw on the run. So it goes back to that continuity thing and getting in touch and everybody being on the same page. We haven't seen it like the last 6 weeks, and it's incredibly frustrating.
So while defense wins championships, defense definitely won the game today. Why we want the offense to be more of a contributing factor is because you can't win games like this in the playoffs. Okay, Washington, let's be real here. They're not that great a team.
And they were beat up.
They were beat to hell on injuries. It seemed like every other play they had a guy going down. So obviously a very hurt team. But when you go up against plus 500 teams in the playoffs that deserve to be there, winning like this probably won't be acceptable. And that's word to Dan Quinn and his Falcons in Super Bowl 51. But we're going to move on. We're going to digress from there. The playoff picture is what we're kind of interested in. So as it stands, Dallas did take care of business today. And to move up in the conference seeding, we're needing some losses to happen. So we own a tiebreaker over Green Bay. If they take an L tonight, we'll move up into third.
Keep in mind, Cowboys Nation, we're recording this right after the game, post game. So we have not experienced the Green Bay Packers game. As some of you might be listening to this, know the outcome of this game already.
Yes, so we are just kind of crossing our fingers on that one. We know that Aaron Rodgers does well against the Bears.
So he owns them.
But yeah, he certainly owns them. And hopefully we have a Bears team that comes out with a vengeance with that statement in mind and has something for Aaron tonight. But
as it stands right now, the Buccaneers are up on the Bills 24-10 in the third quarter. So I don't know if they're going to win that one.
It's not out of reach by any means, especially for good teams, right? But let's get back on track. Arizona has the Rams on Monday night. So obviously that's a losable game. But that only put them at 3 losses. So that doesn't really do anything for us for seeding purposes. Tampa Bay, we don't owe the tie over. We just talked about them. They're leading over the Bills right now. We need them to take an L for us to stand a chance in hopping them in conference seeding. So we know that we're going into week 17 facing Arizona. So that's one to look forward to. The focus has been winning our division. And now we're sitting at 3-0 thus far within our division. 3 of our last 4 games are divisional games, and I can realistically see us taking those as dubs. But as the season is shaping up down the stretch, it's time to start preparing for a wild card game at home. And as close as the wild card race is, I won't even begin to make a prediction as to who we might draw. But
could be anybody at this point. I mean, this season has been so crazy. I've seen so many stats. It's like the first time ever. Like this doesn't, there are teams beating teams. It's like any given Sunday, but it seems like it's more frequent this season. So you can't really predict the outcome of anything this year. And that's why this game against Washington was so big. It's like we expected to win. We thought we would win, but at the end of the day, there's been a lot of any given Sundays this year. So, big win for the Cowboys, but we're going to need some help as far as conference seeding. Otherwise, it's looking like we're locked up in that 4 seed.
As a Cowboys fan, depending on how long you've been a Cowboys fan, but as a Cowboys fan, in order to set yourself up for success, it's important to manage your expectations. I think that we're sitting on the winning side of things, scratching and clawing for seeding in the conference, as opposed to scratching and clawing to win the division and maybe try and grab a wild card seeding spot. So I like where we are in that regard. Silver and blue lining.
Silver and blue lining. Yes, sir. Silver and blue lining. Cowboys have a 3-game lead in the NFC East. That's my silver and blue lining. As up as I was, and then as fall down as I fell in that game. The silver and blue lining is we got out of there. It's a road game. It's a divisional game. You can expect those to always be tough. Sure, we should have blown them out considering everything. But at the end of the day, they got out of there with a win. We got out of there relatively healthy. And that put us up 3 games in the division. And I don't think Washington can win the division. I don't know if they're mathematically eliminated, but it's going to be really hard for them regardless. Same with Philly. So
yeah, we've certainly all but wrapped up the division. Looking at the schedule ahead, we've got the Giants next week at noon. The following week we've got the primetime game on Sunday against Washington again.
Wait, are you sure? No, we play. Oh yeah. You're right. You're right.
And then we go against Arizona, of course, to start the new year, January 2nd. We got the noon game. Depending on where we are in the seeding, that might actually turn into a primetime game. That remains to be seen. And then Eagles to close it out. We're hoping that one doesn't matter.
Yeah, hopefully we're resting that week. But that Cardinals game, especially if they were to lose today, that game could end up being pretty huge.
That could be for the number 1 seed. You don't know.
Especially, like I said, especially this season. So, but what we got to focus on right now is we got to focus on clinching this division. I know everybody is super caught up on getting that first round bye, but at this point, with the ups and downs that the Cowboys have experienced this season,
with 3 divisional games left, it's not over by any stretch.
Yeah, for sure. And so I'm just like, at this point, just win the division. We draw who we draw. We know if we win this division, we're going to get to play at home. And the Cowboys have played relatively well this season at home. So let's just focus on wrapping this up. We got the Giants up next, and they're beat up, and they haven't played very well either.
Yeah, so definitely a game that we look forward to. Maybe another big Mike McCarthy statement. But
let's hope not. I'm tired. I don't want to talk about that all week. I want to talk about the way we play. I want to talk about other things. But
right, my silver and blue lining is this team continues to get healthier. So for the sake of keeping our guys healthy, that's why I cross my fingers week 18, and I'm like, hopefully we don't need to play. But this team's getting healthier and in a timely manner as this season comes to an end with 4 games remaining. We need to be at full strength going against other teams at full strength and playoff-worthy opponents in the postseason. So super important for us to get healthy, for us to play strong to end the season, the regular season, and just move forward and come into the playoffs hot.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking to see, moving forward for the rest of the season. Let's see how our offensive line is going to be able to play, because we saw Tyron go down today. We saw Zach Martin go out today. Lyle Collins got ejected. That could be a suspension for the way that he acted about, Dak getting shoved out of bounds. So there's some question marks moving forward that Cowboys Nation we need to be looking out for. But at the end of the day, what we really need to worry about is, can we fix the run game, and can Dak get on point with his receivers? Because especially, my biggest thing is the O-line needs to get better so that we can run the ball and we can protect the quarterback. If we can't run the ball, especially moving into January, when you potentially could play in a place like Green Bay, you're going to have to be able to run the ball efficiently. So I'm looking for the run game to get better, and I'm looking for the offensive line to get better. If we can fix the offensive line and, find some more continuity and get healthy, I think that's just going to make things way easier for this offense.
Obviously, a noteworthy absence with Tony Pollard not suiting up to play. He was a game time decision. I think we can expect him for next week, but nonetheless,
he does have a pretty bad injury though,
yes.
So he could be out. We don't really know. It's really all about pain tolerance, is what I'm hearing.
Right, and in his absence, Clement did step up to the plate, basically matching Zeke's stat for stat on this game. So definitely an effort to not look over.
I thought Clement could be an honorable mention to the winners. He ran the ball hard today, and he put his head down and he went to work. So
yeah.
good for him. Good job stepping up.
Yeah, someone with a next man up mentality coming in and producing in the same way that Ezekiel Elliott did. Maybe, and that's just with running the ball. I will say that it's fantastic. But if you've reached this part of the show, this is where we're going to kind of wrap things up. Friendly reminder, guys, we're an up and growing and up and coming YouTube channel as well as a podcast channel. We put this on YouTube for free and across all platforms for free. So tell your friends about this because it costs nothing to view us. Another thing it doesn't cost anything to do is to hit that thumbs up button, because that helps more than you can possibly imagine. Click the activation bell, because that tells you when we drop a new podcast. Drop your comments below. What's the silver and blue lining? What did you take away from this game? We're interested to hear your thoughts and takes and respond and interact with you guys as we build our following.
One last thing I would like to say before we close out, final thoughts. Washington, you thought you're trash. Get yourself a name, you bum ass mofos. All right, that's all I got. Closing thoughts, but go ahead.
Well said. If you've made it this far, we want to thank you for your time and attention, and hope that you've learned something of value here in the
Cowboys
last half
Nation.
hour. Smash that thumbs up and smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel and activate that bell button so that you can be the first to know when a new episode of Noise of the Boys podcast is dropped. And with that, we are out of here. Matt Longoria and Uncle CTom, and we'll see each and every one of you for the pregame, for the postgame, for the pregame report.
Peace.